Ready?
Hey guys, welcome to Alex and Andy Live. We are coming to you, as you can see from the image there, from people. It's currently still under a lockdown. I think we're on day 35 or day 36. Today it is the 6th of May. Friday is the 6th of May. And today we had, let's see, 245 new symptomatic cases, 4,024 new asymptomatic cases, and that all-important number, 23 community infections, that is outside of controlled areas. Alex, how's it going?
Not too bad. Just another day, another one of those beautiful days gone by. But yeah, doing okay. Yourself?
Pretty good. I had some bad news today.
No.
My walkway outside where I could walk around the whole block, it's been closed off.
Wow.
So like in our shelter, we have all the different buildings. So my building here it is or precautionary area, which is the green area, has been for a long time. But there are new cases in our shelter. So along the path where I could normally walk around, so it is. Oh, Alex, can you hear me? Okay, looks like Alex has frozen there. So what I'm going to do is quickly read some comments. We have. Oh, there we go.
I'm back. I switched to 5G.
Good evening, folks. Hello, Andy and Alex. Hello. Comment from. Oh, you're back.
Yep.
Awesome. Travel with Jean in Shanghai, in China. Sorry, says another good day today. Hi all.
Nope, we chatted with.
How is the weather today? Somebody asked, so I can bring that up for you.
It was really nice today. Today was another one of those perfect, really nice, beautiful days.
Hey, I'm not sure what's up with this internet, Alex. We're having
I'm on
a
my
tough time here
5G
with the connection.
There shouldn't be a problem. Give it a second, I guess.
It's cracked up to be because it doesn't seem.
All right, guys, I'm not sure if you can hear me or not, but yeah, if so, I'll just go ahead.
Hey, okay, I think I might be back. Let's see.
Okay,
Alex, are you there?
I am still here.
Alex,
yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
It seems like you're out of sync, which is really annoying. I just had my connection on 5G for the first time, and it was really bad, as you guys just saw, and I switched it back to 4G. So I really don't know if 5G is all that they're saying it is, because I really find it's not that great, to be honest.
I don't know. I'm using it at the moment, and it seems to be okay. But anyway, so back to the topic at hand. Hopefully, our internet issues are sorted out. But so we had another really nice, beautiful day today, and yeah, another really just perfect sunny day, blue skies. Really unfortunate to be stuck inside for another beautiful spring day here in Shanghai. The spring here is really, in my opinion, the best season that we've got, other than when it rains. But we haven't even really gotten a lot of that. So this is one of the best springs I've seen in a while in terms of weather. But unfortunately, we're unable to enjoy it. So, oh well.
Yep, that's right. We're stuck inside, especially me, and I've been able to go outside, like I said before, for the past few
Right.
days to walk around, and I haven't been
Yeah.
able to today. So it
Well,
kind
I
of really
wanted to
sucks.
ask
Hey, Alex.
you, so I want to ask you really quick before we move on. So you mentioned that there were new cases in your xiaoqu, in your neighborhood today. So that's that. So then
Yeah,
I guess
we
in theory you would be amongst the 23 then, the 23, because your community was in the green, right? And so if it isn't a quarantine facility and it isn't like my community in a red lockdown area, then wouldn't any of the cases that happened in your compound be counted amongst the 23 in community spread?
Well, you would think so if it happened straight away, but I'm not sure if I think the numbers might be lagging, so maybe it'll catch up. But if you see here, we have Jing'an, my district, 30 confirmed symptomatic cases and 485 asymptomatic. So, yeah, to be honest, I'm not too sure, Alex. I think maybe it'll show up in a couple of days. They've just put fences up. They've just put new fences up downstairs between the different buildings to keep us separate, which, I don't know. Not looking good anyway.
Yeah, not really sure. Oh, who is that? Anyway, so we're here and it's fine. And so, yeah, that's unfortunate, Andy. So I guess technically speaking, that means you're back in the red, right?
Well, no, this is the weird thing. My building is still, my actual building is still showing up as in the green, 防范区, what's it called, precautionary area. But for some reason in the statistics, they're splitting up our xiaoqu into the different buildings because we all have different addresses. So, yeah, it's kind of annoying. Hey, Alex, I think your connection is really out of sync. I think your connection's really out of sync. Maybe you can refresh and come back in.
Okay, I'll refresh.
Awesome. See you soon. I'll chat with Yang Jian really quickly. Yang Jian, can you hear me?
Hi, Andy. Yeah.
Hi. Sorry, we brought you in really quickly because we're having problems with the connection. So I wanted to ask you the first question for today, which is, I noticed this morning on the daily press briefing that the vice mayor, executive vice mayor of the city took part in the press conference today. I was wondering what that was all about and what kind of information he shared with us today.
Okay, and it is actually the second time for the executive vice mayor of Shanghai to attend this COVID press meeting, and he is also the highest ranking city official on the daily meeting. And every time he comes, there are some good news. And I remember last time was the first time for the city that more recovered patients discharged than the new daily infections. And today he announced that the city's resurgence has been effectively put under control. And he also gave two proofs for his point. One is now there are 7 districts and a part of Pudong have basically achieved the zero community transmission of the COVID-19. So nearly half of local districts have basically achieved the goal. And the standard means less than 1 positive case is found in every 100,000 residents within the controlled and the precautionary areas for 3 consecutive days. And despite most of the districts are in the city's outskirts, only Putuo and part of Pudong are in downtown. It is still a great milestone. And the second proof from the vice mayor is the number of daily infections has trended downwards continuously for 2 weeks since April the 22. And now the number is under 5,000 every day, and mainly from people already under lockdown and or in quarantine. And he also gave some other positive signs today, such as over 80% of the city's infections, totally some 480,000, have been discharged after making a full recovery. And he also said the RT value, or effective reproduction number, of the pandemic has fallen to below 1 for over 10 days, which means the community transmission has been contained. Andy.
Right. Yeah, I know that number is really important, and it sort of determines, or it talks about what how many people each infected person is transmitting to. So being below 1 is really important. I wanted to ask you about. We saw yesterday. We talked about how there are 9,000 PCR testing places around the city. So what is the strategy moving forward in terms of PCR testing? Do we know?
Yes, actually, the vice mayor said this continuous PCR testing has become a key strategy of Shanghai's of this. We have the name now. It's called Great Shanghai Defense Wall, and he said it can help us stay ahead of the virus and find the potential infections and cut off the transmission chain. So, the PCR plus antigen testing will definitely continue, along with the three-area designation. And like the vice mayor said, to consolidate the foods at the 7 districts and help more local districts to reach the goal. And because apart from the good news, the official also noted the pandemic situation now is like sailing against the current. And the formal metaphor from the city official was mountain climbing. So there are tiny difference because I guess when mountain climbing, we fall and we fall to the ground zero. But now we are sailing on a river, so we can go backwards and forwards again. So he said the number of daily infections has been around 4,000 for several days. And there are still infections outside of the cities locked it down and quarantine. So there are still risks of resurgence. And old residential communities, urban villages, construction sites, and senior homes and the plus delivery staff will become the focus of the city's next phase of the anti-COVID campaign. So the PCR testing will definitely continue. And today, one reporter just asked the vice mayor why we must take so frequent PCR testing. And the mayor replied that this repeated testing is necessary to identify people who are newly infected, because according to studies, the new infections might test negative at the beginning when they have yet to expire the toxins of the coronavirus. And he promised to improve the PCR testing arrangements to create a safe, clean, and orderly sample collection environment, along with timely disinfection measures after the positive cases are transferred to relieve the citizens' concerns about the possibility of cross-infection. Alex.
Awesome. So still a bit of a mission ahead to keep on top of this. But I did notice that a lot of the makeshift hospitals that we saw set up around the city, especially back during the peak when we were seeing around 25,000 new cases per day, have actually been closing down. Can you tell us what the significance of that is, Yang Tia?
Yes, the opening and the closing of the makeshift hospitals are always the parameter of the pandemic. And when the number of cases are rising, many makeshift hospitals have to be built. And when it is falling down like now, the surplus facilities will be shut down. And the vice mayor released the official plan for their closing today. And the first is the district level makeshift hospitals in poor condition. And the second is the temporary transfer sites. That when we have insufficient beds, some patients must stay at these sites for several days waiting to be transferred. And now we don't need them anymore. And the third is the makeshift hospitals built within local schools. And the vice mayor said they will undergo strict cleaning and disinfection and safety evaluation. And after this close up, the city's new COVID positive cases will be transferred to the city level makeshift hospitals directly. And the official said the city now has some 195,000 beds for COVID patients at the makeshift hospitals, and which are mainly for the asymptomatic and those with mild symptoms, conditions. And now, according to the official number, we have some 100,000 patients at the makeshift hospitals, and so there are over 90,000 beds are just redundant. But the vice mayor also said that the city will still keep sufficient beds at some makeshift hospitals for any possible resurgence in future. And meanwhile, with the closure of the makeshift hospitals, the city's medical resources have also been reshifted to the hospitals to serve the citizens. And one official said the number of visitors at local hospitals has been increased to over 1 million between May the 1st and the 5th, which is a 50% increase comparing with a month ago. So makeshift hospitals are being restored back to stadiums, exhibition centers, and school campuses, while medical staff are also returning to hospitals to serve their normal patients. So everything is going back to normal gradually. Andy.
Yeah, it's definitely good to see. Definitely good to see that. Obviously, if we don't need as many patients in makeshift, if we don't have as many COVID patients as we did during the peak surge, you know, obviously a lot of those makeshift hospitals at the district level will not be necessary anymore, for sure. I think we might have lost Andy. Is he back?
I'm back. Sorry, you guys. A really bad internet connection. Sorry, Andy, and I think we missed a lot of what you said, but I'm hoping the viewers
I heard him.
Caught the internet is better then.
I heard
Thank
you,
you.
Young. Thank you very
nice.
much. I hope our viewers. I think our viewers heard him too. So thank you, Young.
Nice.
We'll see you again. All right.
My internet is just totally stuffed up.
All right, we'll do our best.
What I'll try and do now is bring in our other guest. Oh no, she's not here yet. We have another guest, Emma, who's our colleague. We were going to chat with her briefly before we watched her video, but I think she's not here, so we're going to have to watch the video first, and then when we come back, we'll see if we can have a chat with her. So yeah, I'll bring up her video, which has been kicked out of my studio. I had it already, but it's here we go.
There we go. Her
Here it
video
is.
about. There we go.
To stay or to go? I spoke with Carrie Jones, Director of Counselling at Community Centre Shanghai, about the question on many people's lips. She had some strategies to help with the answer. Enjoy. Lockdown drags on. What impact do you think it's having?
The stress, the anxiety, the unknown, the uncertain, it leads to some anger and some frustration. So just this mix of emotions is not what I signed up for. I already can't travel. I already can't see my family very easily. I'm not sure that that's really what I want to continue to do. I think it's what a lot of people are coming to. So they're questioning, should I stay? Should I go? Even if we get through this time, what does that mean for the future? If I stay here, what's going to happen next?
It's not just members of the international community that are actually kind of in this position, it's locals as well.
Right. In some ways, maybe as expats, we have the luxury of having a home country that we could go back to versus if this is your home. Where else can you go? What else can you do?
Goodbyes and transitions, they're hard at the best of times, but how is down making all of that more difficult?
Usually we do that through things like goodbye parties, final dinners out, final trips to our favorite places, of course, hugs goodbye to people. And now we can't do any of that. So everything has to be done remotely. And we can find ways, we can be creative, but it's not the same as what we would normally do. So there's that sense of emotionally not having the same kind of closure that we would usually want.
What might people feel if they decide to leave Shanghai suddenly?
And of course, there's the relief and the excitement about getting out of here. But I think for a lot of people, and they shouldn't have this, but it's understandable that they do, that there's almost a sense of failure. This was not at all how I planned to do it. And are people judging me? Am I judging myself on the way that I left? A lot of yourself to remember that you made the best decision for you and your family, and figuring out, are there pieces of it, like what do you take away? What was your gift from Shanghai, from your time in China, and how do you incorporate that into your new life?
Any tips for those of us that are currently wrestling with the decision, should I stay or should I go?
Don't compare yourself to other people. You have to think about, what is your situation here, like your financial situation, your mental health, your family, what do you have to go back home to? Because if you leave, of course, you have to think about a job, a place to stay, not trying to make the decision on your own, but again, not letting other people tell you what to do, but having trusted people that you can talk to. And I think the other big important thing is not letting this experience cloud your whole China experience, your whole experience of Shanghai. This last chapter is one full of suffering, uncertainty, lots of negative emotions, but hopefully you have multiple chapters prior to that you can look back on.
Are you planning on staying in Shanghai?
We decided about a year ago that this was going to be our last year here. So there's also this part of me that thinks, should we stay? Because I just want to see how it plays out. There's going to be a lot of healing and rebuilding in the city, the community. I'd like to stay here and be a part of that. But I think we know we need to get home for family at this point.
Anything else that you wanted to add?
Not being afraid to ask for help, whether it's emotional support or the logistical, practical support. And then I think too, like the other important thing is to remember, Shanghai is always going to be here. So at some point, if people want to come back, that's always a possibility. Move back later.
Thank you so much for your time today. It was a real joy. Take care, Carrie.
Take care. Bye.
Awesome. So that is the latest in the series from our colleague Emma Leaning, who is joining us now, I hope. Emma, can you hear me? Oh, she's loading up.
Oh, we can hear her, but a little
bit. Maybe not.
How we see you.
Wait a minute. Here we go. Hey, Emma, I was going to ask you, because we were going to chat with you before the video came up, but we had some problems with the connection. So I was hoping... Oh, no, she's gone again.
Oh, I really enjoyed that video. I think it's really important, and it addresses a really important question that a lot of people in the international community, obviously she mentioned some locals as well, are thinking about. And I think it made a good point. You know, I mean, I think for a lot of people, they are considering whether or not it's worth it to stay through the lockdown. We don't know how long it's going to last. And, you know, for a lot of people, there are a lot of questions about, you know, it depends obviously on everybody's situation. I think there are... Okay, Emma, can you hear me?
Oh, I think... Have we got... Emma, are you there?
We can't really hear you.
Bummer, we can't hear. The connection's really bad.
No.
Emma, maybe we'll try again. Can you maybe call on your phone or something?
Yeah. I want to talk to Emma because, you know, she does a lot of these pieces, these video pieces, interviews, articles, and other things about mental health. And as I said last time we spoke with her and watched one of her videos, I think it's a really important thing to be focusing on during this particular period of time. It's something that can be taxing to even someone who normally doesn't have any sort of mental health issues. But for people that do, I think it's even more, it just exacerbates different issues that people might have. And obviously all the different stresses and pressures, a lot of people considering whether they want to remain in Shanghai throughout the duration of this lockdown experience, or whether they want to relocate, be that to another country, another city, back to their home country, whatever it is. And I think that, you know, it's also a really daunting thing because there's so many different hoops you have to jump through to get out of the country right now. You have to figure out a way to get to the airport, different passes. You've got to arrange your flights, which are going to be really expensive, much more so than normal. Also infrequent, you know, your job, if you have any pets, if you have any kids, There's so many different things, and there's so many different hoops to jump through. And I know a lot of people are really, really stressing out about that right now. And so I think that that points that Carrie made are really important.
Yeah, rightly so. I did notice one of the points she made there was really important, which was, you know, if you end up having to leave Shanghai or deciding that it's time for you to leave, especially based on this lockdown, which a lot of people are finding really tough, don't let it sort of cloud your whole China experience. I think it's very easy as humans to let some negative episodes in our lives kind of take over our memory. But she mentioned it was important, if you find yourself having to leave because of this and you have, some bad feelings or whatever, try to remember some other parts of your China journey or your time you spent here you really enjoyed, which I think is really important. There's that song, Should I Stay or Should I Go? Should I stay or should I go? If I stay, it will be trouble. If I go, it will be double. Don't let your image of China become overwhelmed with negativity. I think it's important. I just want to quickly read a comment we got from Snarky Guy. Now he has a YouTube channel. He is here in Shanghai. He says, I've been supportive of the Chinese methods up to this point, but my thinking is that they are now pursuing the wrong path with this lockdown and this zero COVID policy. It's bananas. A lot of people do feel like we're taking the wrong path here with COVID zero. Unfortunately, that's not changing anytime soon. We're seeing from Beijing that we're sticking to COVID zero. So I think, Alex, for a lot of people, this may be, the last straw and something that sees them leaving.
I can imagine that for many it's frustrating news. But as far as my point of view is, it is what it is, and so I'm here to tell you guys about that, about what's happening, and I'm gonna try and keep any complaints or any sort of misgivings that I may or may not have off of the stream, just because I feel like it's not constructive. I just feel like it's not constructive for the situation that we're dealing with, right? I mean, I'm trying to be as positive as possible here, and so I'm not gonna just sort of whine about it, because I really don't feel like that's getting us anywhere. Whether or not, regardless of how I might feel about it personally, I'm just gonna stay positive and not complain about it really, and just sort of stick to what's happening. So what we do know is, it does seem like for at least for the near future and for the foreseeable future, I guess is the right term, we are going to be sticking to it. And so the best way to sort of deal with that is to make whatever decision is best for you in your personal life, given whatever circumstances that you're in, and make sure that you're happy with that decision. I did want to say one more thing, though, that I thought was really good, a point that Carrie made here in this interview. And she said, if you do leave the city or the country, make sure to take something from Shanghai with you. And that really resonated with me, because obviously, having been here for 13 years now, I've known a lot of people over those years who I've seen come and go. I've met a lot of students who came here for a year or two and left. And my best advice to those people that were leaving, not people that were here for a long time, because someone who's been here 20 years doesn't need my advice, but I mean people who left, it was to say, make sure you bring something tangible or intangible back to your new life wherever you go with you, be it a new skill, be it certain experiences, whatever it may be it friendships. Just make sure that if you do leave, that 2 and 3 and 4 years from now, everything that you had here is just gone, and it's like it never happened, because then that's really not a good sort of outcome. You want your time here, regardless of how brief or how long it is or was, to be useful and fruitful in the next chapter of your life. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's very important and a good point. Based on that song, Should I Stay or Should I Go, which I feel is kind of the theme of this video. We have a few comments. Somebody, Jean, said, oh yeah, KTV is back. Somebody else said, I love that song. Quite an old song. But I think I have Emma back here, so let's see if she can chat. Emma, can you hear us?
That's way better.
Whole gorgeous conversation. Yeah, hi.
You missed the whole thing. Emma, can you tell us a little bit about your new Mental in Lockdown series? Because we've seen a few of the episodes on our show. We really enjoyed them, but we haven't had a chance to chat with you about it yet. So can you tell us, what's the thinking behind it and what's the process?
Yeah, so they follow very much the form of Harry from the community centre mental health professionals from around about the innumerable ways that lockdown is impacting us. It's a way of acknowledging whilst there are moments of happiness or positivity or hope, things that we can do together in lockdown that bring us overall. of lockdown and everything that comes with it, anxiety, or fear about your family, never, you don't make really important knowledge of some ways to cope, and the mental health professionals in Shanghai have just jumped on this and been so supportive and really wanted to kind of work together on that message. As I said, what we're going through is so that
unfortunately, we could only hear about half of what you said. I'm not really sure. We call it bits and pieces here. I didn't want to stop you. I was hoping you were kind of in and out there, but I know that one thing I did hear very clearly was you're talking about the medical professionals and the mental health professionals here in the city are really sort of stepping up to this challenge. I was, I've had sort of been the topic of conversation for everyone in Shanghai for the better part of 2 or 3 months now, and so I've had some conversations with people. Just when you think about a city with a population this big of nearly 26 million, you're going to have a little slice of everything, right? Like you're going to have a number of different, pretty much every problem that exists in society is going to exist in some place in a city with a population this big. And so there are going to be a lot of people who need support going through this.
Yeah. And it's not for people that are already.
It's cutting off.
What I'm trying to say is that this series isn't just people that have
right.
This ongoing lock. Everybody. On all of us.
You there, Andy? I'm still having a little bit of trouble. I'm still having
the internet connection's really bad. Emma, thank you so much. I think we better try again another day because we can't hear most of what you're saying. But thank you so much for the video.
I really want to hear what you have to say because this is a topic that's really interesting to me. And I really thought that the interview was good. I thought that Carrie had a lot of really good advice and brought up some points that really resonated with me. And I know even if I'm not necessarily considering leaving the city anytime soon, I know a lot of friends of mine are or have recently or are considering it and are trying to really grappling with this decision because it is such a big one for a lot of people. Not only just logistically leaving is really hard, but also just sort of mentally and like I think for me, I've always, and I'm sorry for rambling here, but I want to ramble for 1 second. I think that, for us, when we make a big change in our life in terms of something as big as, where we live or what country we live in, we want to be able to make that change of our own accord and because we wanted to, right? Not because we felt that our hand was forced by some external factor. And even if that does happen, people have to understand that change is inevitable, but it's sort of a tough thing. It's a tough thing for a lot of folks. So I appreciate your work on this. Good.
It comes down to the professionals that I'm looking at for work with. Not is us all in different ways.
Right, definitely.
For sure, it does, and it's an important topic.
Go ahead.
I think the internet gods are against us tonight, but
they really are.
Yeah.
I want to tell you, what's coming up. We've got some fantastic topics coming up.
Yeah.
I'm talking with. I've had a wonderful conversation about compassion. Like we are overwhelmed all of being and the effect of, and then God time, and then we've got also
Awesome. Emma, thank you so much. We got a message here. Someone said it's cool to watch your body language. Someone said it's cool to watch your body language because it's cutting out, and they said you see she presents with full of charisma. So Emma, we'll try again another day, and hopefully we don't have internet problems then. But thank you so much. We look forward to the next episode.
All right, talk to you soon, Emma. Thank you.
Oh, and it cuts off. It just cut off completely. Gosh. Anyway, I'm not sure what's happening.
Go ahead, Andy.
No, I'm not sure what's happening because even our connection between you and I, Alex, is really bad and laggy. So it's just absolutely terrible tonight.
We'll make the best of it. But yeah, no, it's a shame that we couldn't hear a lot of what Emma said. I guess unless there are any lip readers in the audience. But
I was trying.
Yeah. But in any case, Emma's always got a lot of really good points to make and things to say, especially as it pertains to this particular topic. And so I thought it was a great interview. And I think that regardless of whether you plan to stay or plan to leave in the long term or in the short term or whatever sort of the circumstances in our environment and in your personal life have brought you to do, it's important. I think she makes some really good points, things to consider and things to think about when you're making this choice.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it is a tough decision. A lot of people are at a crossroads that they probably or possibly haven't found themselves at for a very long time. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it, us here in Shanghai, we kind of delayed this inevitability, I guess, for the last 2 years. We've lived quite normal lives while the rest of the world went down this difficult path. So yeah, we're kind of catching up now. Tough time. But hopefully you can, if you're considering leaving, take on some of those suggestions that Carrie made in the video. I think really, really valuable there. But what I want to do now, because we're having such a hard time chatting in sync here, which I find really frustrating. I don't know about you, Alex, but what I'll do is I'll play another one of our videos. And hopefully when we get back from that, we can have a chat. But I'm going to put a video up which is about a carrefour in your district, in Putuo district, which partially opened to residents recently. So let's check that out. And then when we come back, we'll have a little chat.
All right.
记得有多少头没来，有啥心情？
给到呢，好像到搿搭呢，心情开朗了。哦，我买物事了。阿拉小区专门是6点夜里向6点半到7点半，6点钟歇个，接队一道过来。
最主要想买啥物事？
种吃个物事。
我晓得吃啥物事，那个具体点
是吧？肉、米，是吧？油都要买个。还有这个水果早浪向。
哦，水果
对吧？早浪向要吃早饭个还没来。酱菜对吧？再买点饼干啥、饼干、面包，侪要买。
侬最想吃啥物事？团购买勿着个。有号头
试过
哦。
买点试过。
侬买一样的
零食。
侬买啥子？
差不多吧，零食、冰淇淋。
只要领着。
侪买领子，哪侪买领子啊？那
时差才有了呀。
我们今天第一天嘛，第一天开始营业，好多人关在家里1个多月，或者有2个月的都有。那么他们必需品，那像那个吃的东西啊，生鲜的那些蔬菜啊、水果啊、鸡蛋、油、盐、酱醋，这是必需品。还有那个 日用品，那草纸啊、洗涤精啊这些东西，我们是准备的很充足的。我们是每天8点半到晚上的9点半营业，每1个小时进来，我们只限量放人进来，放200个人。200个人进来以后，这些人1个小时之内完成就是购物、买单、消杀1个小时，然后这些1个小时完成了以后，我们消杀了以后再放第2批人进来，就是说我们每天有11个小时，11个时间段，每个时间段放200个人进来进入卖场购物。那么我们为了安全起见的话，我们是把所有的手推车、购物篮、购物袋都取消。我们这个生鲜的东西啊，特别是称重的东西，我们都是加班加点把它先提前包装好，价格打好，就是避免顾客排队啊，或者说去称重啊、去接错啊。另外，附近的居民啊，自己自备购物袋或者是那个手推车啊、手拉车。还有一个就是说，戴好一次性的口罩和一次性的手套，如果没有的话，我们也可以免费提供的。
今朝买了多少么子？
买了就是肉了啥么子。
一共多少钱？
差不多300块左右。
300块左右。
对个，主要是买点水果啊、蔬菜啊啥么子，还有种就是老散的，比如讲可乐，还有种人家辣盖面搭吃棒冰，小区里向看到团购了，就想散了就想团一下。对，搿是奢侈品。
那么今朝出来买么子，为啥选侬呢？
就因为阿拉老公烧菜。
那老公们力道比较大咯，应该是伊来拎咯。
没，我勿想烧一只鸡，伊讲伊来烧，就阿拉就配合好，伊来烧菜，我来买么子。对。
Nice to see things getting back to normal a little bit there at Carrefour and Putoy, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, it's always one thing that's been a little bit, I don't know, it's hard for me to put a finger on it or find the right word for the emotion I feel. I mean, it's cool to see people having the chance to go back to the supermarket, go outside and do normal things, but it's a little bit, it's a weird emotion that I feel when we see people doing the most basic of tasks in everyday life. It's like, oh my gosh, I get to go to the supermarket. It's just like, yeah, all right. That's great. I don't know. It's just a weird feeling that it gives me. No, but I think it was a really good job. I wanted to comment that pretty much that entire video was in Shanghai Hua or Shanghainese.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody, I'm sure a lot of you noticed that, but yeah. But yeah, it's just a weird emotion I get when I see people sort of not. I mean, they're right to be happy about the ability to do this, but it's just like I'm not sure if any of our viewers sort of understand the emotion that I'm trying to get at, but I can't quite find the right word for it.
Yeah, I think it comes down to, having some bad times that make the good times even better. So, obviously we have freedom every day to go out, buy what we want, do what we want. And so when you lose that freedom, as we have for whatever it is, day number 36 for us in Puxi, it becomes, you sort of settle to a new default level, I guess. And then those other things that before were quite normal, like going outside for a walk, or going to see some friends, going to the supermarket becomes like really exciting. And when you think about it, when you step back, I think what you're trying to say is when you step back and look at it, it's like, it's kind of sad that is such an exciting thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like regular things that we've done every day for our entire lives now all of a sudden are these special privileges. And it makes me feel just kind of
right.
a little bit depressing.
No, it is definitely.
I don't be too much of a downer.
Definitely unique times we're facing here. And, just, I don't know about you, Alex, because you've had a case in your community. Recently, you had a bit of a low. Recently, I was feeling like things were starting to move out and get a bit better. But, with those new cases in my community and the gates being put up, it just feels like, which is why Emma's videos are so important. Because, you can feel kind of, at a dead end. Literally today, I found myself at a dead end with going downstairs for my normal walk and finding a big gate put up, 5 meters from my door. So, it's unique times again, something we're going to get through. I'm looking forward to Emma's new video. Really.
Yeah, for sure.
We got heaps of comments.
Go ahead. Let's talk about them. Go ahead, Andy.
Plenty of food and supplies. Some of the, I'll just try and go through. Somebody said that girl likes Coke. Alex can make a new friend. Somebody said, Phoenix, Ira said, yeah, we felt the same way when we had lockdown here in Australia. We all felt like it was an adventure when we got to go shopping. I think that's exactly what you're saying, Alex.
Yeah, you know, it's similar to what I'm getting at. I'm not sure what the lockdown in Australia was like. What I do understand is a little bit more stringent than most countries, but maybe not quite as stringent as what we've got going on here in China. But that's, I don't know. I wasn't in Australia at that time. But in any case, yeah, it's just it's good, and you know, obviously, given the situation that we're in and the circumstances with the virus and everything, like, you know, obviously we can't just go and do everything that we would normally like to do, you know. But I don't know. It's just we've reached a place. We've reached a really sort of an interesting place where we get really excited about doing things that up until this point we did every single day in our entire life, and now it's like some sort of special privilege, and it makes me feel kind of like, yeah. Anyway,
yeah, but it is in a way also. It can be seen as a good thing, I guess, because it's kind of like a reality check on how good our lives were and how good life is, if you know what I mean. Maybe there's some things we will try not to take for granted again once we get out. I don't know.
Well, once we can do them again, yeah.
Who knows when? No, you're right. Okay, you guys, we're looking at a view here of Lujiabei, which we show you every evening. The lovely view down at opposite from the Bund. This is in Pudong, which obviously, like the rest of Shanghai, is still locked down. We're still going through it. Yeah, and it's a nice view. Maybe we'll get to go down there and check it out sometime soon.
Hopefully at some point in the future. I was just pointing at my Shanghai Shenhua Football Club scarf. You know, it's been obviously, you know, going to football matches is not top priority of what we're doing here during the fight against COVID. And so unfortunately they haven't hosted a football match since December of 2019. My Shenhua friends will know that we won the FA Cup, the Zuxiebei, that day, which is a great, wonderful, and fantastic day for Shenhua fans. But we have not been back in the stadium since that day in 2019. And so, you know, I'm really looking forward. That's just one of the many things I don't know when we'll be able to do it again. It might be a really long time, but yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. I think even though I was feeling a bit down about the prospects today, I think still maybe we're looking at 2 to 3 weeks. I would. I know you don't like guessing, Alex, but if I had to guess, I'd say 2 to 3 weeks at the current trajectory. What I'll do is I'll bring up that graph, because graphs always help. I think a lot of people are quite visual people. So here's that graph of what we're looking like. So we're definitely looking a heck of a lot better than we have been at the peak, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers now per day are lower than where they were at the start of the lockdown, which is good. Obviously, after getting, you can see there in mid-April, we were above 20 and up to 25,000 new cases each day, and sometimes even north of that. But obviously, we're quite a ways down from that now. In fact, under 5,000. So while that is not a small, definitely not an insignificant number, at least it's a lot smaller than the numbers we were seeing, you know, 3 and 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, up to the height here, just above 25,000 per day. Now, I want to put that in context. Wuhan, which was, you know, the epicenter of COVID-19 right at the very beginning, their highest amount in a single day was around 14,000, and that was an anomaly because that was a day when the settings, not the right word. Anyway, the kind of change. So the case number suddenly shot up to around 14,000, but actually they were seeing around 5,000 cases a day at the peak of the pandemic in Wuhan. But as you see here in Shanghai, like you just mentioned, Alex, we had a few days where we were over 25,000, so very significant numbers. But like I said yesterday, these are the numbers that I'm looking at, which are cases found outside of quarantine and lockdown areas. That number keeps getting lower. 23 cases are asymptomatic cases found outside lockdown areas, and 0 symptomatic cases, which is a good number.
Yeah, it's a curious thing. Obviously, you know, you were mentioning that in your community, which was in the green, there was a case or two. So presumably they would be counted amongst the 23. Now, given how many communities are in Shanghai and how many people are here, that's a bit of a statistical anomaly if that's the case. It's kind of,
Right.
you kind of hit the backward jackpot there, so to speak. But I don't know if that's the case. We'll see. We'll have to see in the coming days. I know that sometimes there is a lag in terms of when cases are actually compiled into the statistical data at large versus when they are initially happen or when they're initially reported. It's a bit strange to me that I wonder where they got it from. It's sort of I don't know. Tough to say.
That's the $1 million question. But also another point that I would like to make is I've heard, not confirmed, that the number may be counted once that person is removed from the xiaoqu. So sometimes they could be inside for 2 or 3 days waiting for a space. Now, as Yang Jian said before, a lot of those hospital or makeshift hospitals are being closed down. But, he said some of them are in schools. Schools were set up as temporary makeshift hospitals. Now, in Jing'an, where I am, a lot of the people were being taken to schools. So it could be that a school has closed down and they need to take them to a place further away. They may need to wait. So that number may show up once the person's removed or pulled from the community, as it were. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. Again, it would be a bit of a weird statistical coincidence if the people in your compound were amongst those 23, because 23 people amongst the entirety of Shanghai is a really small number. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, right, exactly.
That's my luck.
Obviously you were in a green area, but you actually were sort of still fenced into your community, right? Like, I mean, you were just allowed to go around the city block. You were allowed to go around your community, but you weren't even really allowed the same sort of freedom of movement that a lot of people who are in other green areas are. So it's really kind of strange to wonder where they might have contracted the Omicron variant from. But we know that Omicron is a lot more transmissible than the original COVID or previous variants, which I guess for me, I guess that's the reason why the Shanghai numbers have actually gotten higher than the Wuhan numbers during the peak outbreak of the pandemic there in Wuhan in 2020. Yep. I think it's just because of the transmissibility of the Omicron variant that we're dealing with now.
Yeah, that's definitely an important thing.
Hey, you guys, I'm just bringing you...
Sorry, I'm bringing up the walking video. That's an important thing to remember that, like you said, Omicron is a lot more contagious than the original strain. So that is another reason we could be seeing so many more numbers. I'm just showing you guys the video of my walk to kind of explain what it was. So outside we have these fences that were blocking in our block, our xiaoqu, our compound was filling up a whole city block. So since we don't have central areas with gardens like a lot of other xiaoqu have, we just had this kind of fence put up, and I was able to do this walk every day. Anyway, this morning when I went down, they have put up partitions. So literally, once I go downstairs of my building, I can literally walk only 5 meters, which is a real shame. But anyway, it is what it is. I'm not going to dwell on it anymore. What I'll do, Alex, is I'll play our last video, which is kind of a fun, cutesy video about a guy who made a one-man orchestra using instruments he made, makeshift instruments at home. Let's check that out, and then when we come back, we'll say goodbye to everyone.
Okay, let's check it out.
This one. Yeah.
Oh!
Awesome, Alex. What do you reckon?
I enjoyed that. That was fun. That was really well done. Obviously, he's a professional musician and percussion.
Right.
Yeah, that was really, really good. I enjoyed that, and I imagine that he had fun making it as well. So, yeah, I guess we got to find the small joys of different things that we can do inside our house, and he's clearly, Mr. Wong here is clearly doing that. So that's cool.
Yeah, good to see. And on that note, I reckon we will call it a day, you guys. We are out of content for the day. Sorry about the internet connection problem in the beginning.
Right.
I would love to promise you that it'll be better by tomorrow, but I have no idea. So we'll just have to see as we come along. Let me just quickly check these comments. Oh, yeah, people really enjoyed the performance there by Mr. Wang, who's from the... Was it Shanghai Symphony Orchestra?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
If you rewind it to the beginning, it introduces him, but yeah.
Very awesome,
Anyway.
very awesome. Making Do, I really liked how he used those antigen tests to do a little instrument. Pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed that. It was cool. Good to see stuff like that.
Who's Doctor Strange? Anyway,
It's a movie. It's a movie.
thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all the comments. We will see you again same time, same place tomorrow, whether that is the Shanghai Daily YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook, the Shanghai Daily WeChat group, the Reports on China YouTube page, or my personal Twitter, which is @AndyBXXX. It's a pleasure to have chatted with you guys today. Alex, see you tomorrow.
All right. See you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.